my hands. His voice is stronger than his alarm system is better than my alarm system. His watchdogs are better than my watchdogs. I better go to sleep at night because I hear the voice of the Lord say, who he keeps is well kept. And I want to tell you, I'm concerned about the Bahamas. I'm concerned about the church because you look like you serve a dead God. I see the cloud of Bahama over the Bahamas, and you acting as if God can't fix the economy. I see downgrading of our credit rating, and you acting like the Lord can't fix it. But the problem is you trying to worship a pagan God. You trying to worship your own God. But if you ever bring your praise to church, if you ever worship the King of Kings, he said, I'll hear your cry. I incline my head. I wish I could get a church in this place. He said, I cried unto the Lord, and he heard. I tell you, he heard my despairing cry. The problem is we don't feel like crying no more. We too sophisticated. We too dressed up. I hope you came ready to cry. We got too much money in our pocket. We driving too much fancy car. We living in too much air conditioning. But if you ever think back to where God has brought you from, David said, my soul does magnify the Lord. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. I promise you, you can change an atmosphere in a worship experience. You can change a circumstance in a worship if you just allow God to take hold. Can I tell you, you don't have a part-time God. Unless you check him part-time. I know I'm mashing some car. I'll be on there in a second. That God is a full-time security service. He neither slumbers nor sleep. That before it even happens, God has already seen it before it took place. I wish I could preach to you today. That he's able to keep you from falling. Jude said that there's some things that you didn't have to go through. Some problems that you didn't have to deal with if only you would turn yourself over to God. I'm almost there. 2 more points and I'll be out your way. That he helps us in this text to see that he is a shelter in the time of storm. That no matter what the circumstances is, God protects us from the circumstances even if we don't know it on the way. I promise you, when I got up this morning, I didn't know Fred had left Africa. I heard Danny and Erica couldn't leave each other. When I got up this morning with praise in my mouth, can I declare in this place, I don't care how bad Fred is. I serve a God that neither slumbers. Before Fred got up this morning, God was already here before Fred decided to leave Africa. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. There's another one off the coast of Africa, and they named him Fred, but blow as you, I serve a God that can grab the clouds like a washcloth, and he can squeeze the rain out. He can tell the thunder shut up. He can put the clouds and divide them and make sunshine. That's the kind of God that we serve. God protects us from the circumstances that we're not even aware of. But he's aware of it. Can I tell you? Because he saw it first. Let me take 2 minutes just to explain this to you, that just because it caught you by surprise, it didn't catch God by surprise. That while you crying about you don't know what to do, you got somebody that is already going ahead of you. And if you would just check in with the plan, if you would just say, God, now I reached to where you was. Can I tell you that the problem you have today is in God's yesterday? And since I've reached the way you were, I know you've always made a way of escape. And you promised never to put more on me than I can bear. So I need you to download the code. I need you to download the mission. I need you to download how I was handleless. And I stopped by with the fresh word of heaven. God said, praise me in spite of. God I'm shouting. I'm almost out your way, but I'm going to tell you the end before the beginning. I feel like a nevertheless praise. I don't care what's coming your way, but nevertheless, I trust you. Don't keep screaming. Hey, but I praise him. He says he can do it. Now, 10 a.m., I know you ain't churchy at 10 a.m., but we had church at 7 with this next five. He said he's your shade. The same word for shade is the word that translates shadow. That God is like your shadow, that it follows you everywhere you go. Now here's the thing about shadows, that it shows up best when things are dark. Oh God, I'm almost done. That your shadow is always with you. But you don't know God is with you till things get tough. Oh God, I feel all right in this place. That some of us can't have church until he makes a way out of nowhere. But don't you know that when the sun was shining, he was right there? Some of us, I want it so heavy we can't even lift our hand, but God is right there. But you miss and let some clouds come in, then the shadow will arise that God is with you. Even the Bible says if you make your bed in hell, you know something, I often say if you catch in hell, living in hell, hanging around hell, God said if you make your bed there, heaven just showed up in hell. You missed that. That no matter how bad the situation is, when you show up, you bring a little bit of heaven. That whenever the situation seems unfixable, you bring the problem solver with you, because the shadow, goodness, and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. Now, sometimes you don't feel it, but you gotta shake some goodness and mercy. Sometimes you don't feel like shouting, but he said, enter my gates with thanksgiving and into my courts with praise. Sometimes you can't see it, but the blessing is one shout away. Sometimes you don't understand it, how it happened, but he's working it for your good. And there's somebody in church today that can testify that if you hold on, God will turn it around. That if you stay focused on the things of God, God will make a way out of the way. He said, lo, I am with you. Oh God, I feel all right in this space. That no matter how bad things get, he said, even to the end of the world, until the world has no more, I will be right there. So, if God is with you, why you acting the way you are? And the answer is we ain't sure. Emmanuel is anywhere with us. Don't get quiet. Now, I'm not certain as a preacher that we are a Christian nation. I could not go to heaven and get before the throne room and stand with my chest sticking out and say, these Bahamas. No, Lord, no. In fact, I've got good news in heaven that your pastor can't even get up in front of heaven and say, new destiny. It's a totally Christian church. Only quiet now. Because you see, we are sometime Christian. Sometimes we feel like singing. Sometimes we don't feel like singing. If you can't say amen, just say after. I'll see you next week. No matter what circumstance finds you, trouble won't last always. I don't know what's troubling you this morning. Perhaps you're in the grips of a circumstance with your job. You don't know if you will have a job at the end of next month, and so you're here, but you're not really here. Maybe you're struggling with your workplace, that people keep messing with you. You don't feel comfortable. I know I'm preaching to you today. You don't feel comfortable at work. You wish you could just get out and get another job, but God is right there with you. Maybe there's some stress in your family, that you're struggling to keep things together. You look good on Sunday, you sit in the same row, you put your hands around each other, you smile and blow kisses, but the truth of the matter is you can't stand this woman or you can't stand this man. You reached to a place where you want out, you feel like you're trapped in a prison and you can't wait for the gates to be swung open, but God sees you where you're at, and he said, I'll get in that circumstance and turn it around. Perhaps it's a health situation, that your health is deteriorating to a place that's giving you so long to live, you don't know how long you will be on this side of heaven, that no matter how bad things get, God has an answer for you. He said he'll be your shade on your right hand. I'm almost done. One more point, but this shade on the right hand got me at early morning service, so you got to pray for me. The shade on the right hand is interesting because the shade is usually behind you. The shadow is usually cast behind you, but this is a right side shadow. That he said that the shade is on your right hand. That sometimes God needs to get ahead of you and he don't need behind you. So he steps in front of you and handles the situation that's attacking you from the front. And then he gets on your right hand side, which means he's walking with you. He walks with me and he talks with me. Now, I know this is the church crowd. I know this is the church, but I remember when I was a young lad that I would go to church and they would say, lift your hand to God. No one would lift their left hand. It's always the hand of power. I'm not meaning nothing bad by left-handed people, but historically the right hand is the hand of power. That sometimes when you're going through your circumstances, you gotta lift your shaded right hand and let them know that God is with me. Okay, now when you go to here, I believe some of you gonna have a right hand lesson today. That you're gonna get in some mess and you're gonna say, don't cost me to lift my right hand and give God some praise. And some of you so sophisticated that you can't wave your hand to God. But if you know that he's your shade on your right hand, let heaven know that you're thankful for what he has already done. Oh, let heaven know that you praise him for everything that he's done for you and he continues to do for you. I know it looks a little crazy, but you see, this right hand, God has kept me. He said, by his right hand he upholds you. By his right hand he keeps the stars in the sky. By his right hand he keeps the sun a suitable distance from the earth. By his right hand he keeps the earth spinning on it. Imagine if he ever picked up his left hand, what he'll do in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, then everybody that have breath give God some praise. No matter what the circumstance it is, it can hinder the plan of God for your life. There's nothing in your circumstance that must rob you from your joy of walking with God. In fact, I want to help you that the more you commune with God, the less you spend time in this realm. The power the Christian has is that because of this supernatural protection, I've taught this before, but I maybe need to say it again. You're not bound by the rules and the laws of God. I know I taught it before, but maybe this is the wrong class. That the rules that govern this earth don't govern God. God created the rules. And if he wants to bless you, he can make a provision in the rules and in space and in time. And he can carve out a space where God can put a supernatural move in the earth. But you got to trust him. You got to depend on him. You got to listen to me, pull on him. You got to call on him because he has the provision. But unless you make the first move, he will not open up the heavens and pour you out a blessing. The challenge is he has the provision, but he can't find people willing to receive it. Sometimes we can get big-headed. Sometimes the goodness of God can cause us to lose sight of God. Let's testify to that. Sometimes the very thing we've been praying for takes us away from the presence of God. I hear people tell me all the time, oh my God, this mortgage, man.